I'm a huge fan of movies and a big fan of the Fast and the Furious series. F9's been out in the theaters for about a month. I saw it twice on opening weekend. And although it wasn't my favorite of the saga, I would say it was pretty engaging and a lot of backstory that I didn't know existed. However, my main man Dom here, and yes, I am a collector, pops, die-cast cars, numerous other things, but my main man Dom here and I are going to take you on a quick trip back to the first three movies and why when Mazdas were in the movie, it was about street racing. When you take Mazdas out of the movies, not so much street racing. So let's jump in.
More car vids. More car vids.
All right, as we start in the Fast and the Furious in 2001, we're introduced to the character of Dominic Toretto and his gang. However, as the movie begins, we aren't really introduced to him. Although it is him, we later find out behind the wheel of the three Honda Civics, and his gang is going and robbing these truck drivers. However, we first see Dominic's back as he's sitting at his sister's cafe and enjoying his racing magazine. And Brian Spillner, a.k.a. Brian O'Connor, undercover cop, comes in and he's just wanting to get a piece to earn a little respect. Well, he's there to get food, a tuna sandwich with no crust, and wants to get a little bit of respect from Dom Toretto and interested in Sister Toretto also. But as we go into the movie, the first real introduction of Dom is not in the classic Charger American muscle that you would expect and have come to know from Dominic Toretto, a 1970 Charger. No. The first vehicle that we see is a 1993 Mazda RX-7. This one, of course, is released in North America and was the very first race, as you'll see these scenes here, the opening scenes or the opening race for the opening movie of the series, where Dom first teaches Brian Spillner, again aka Brian O'Connor, Paul Walker's character, how not to race, not to granny shift, and not to use your NOS so early as you come in the final stretch there. So, I love this vehicle. This vehicle we actually don't see anymore in the movie. However, it's, again, a nice racer, an FD, third generation RX-7, and something that, really stood out in the movie and was actually one of the gentlemen involved in the production. It was actually his car that they rented. So, very nice car. This was a Veil side, and I'm not taking it out of the box right now, but it is a Veil side kit. And of course, all the heroes or all the main characters in the movie had unique graphics to really set up their personalization. And this die-cast setup here does mirror that exactly for Dom's first car ever in the Fast and the Furious series, the 93 RX-7. Cutting later to the movie, of course, we're talking about race wars, and as Letty, Dom's love interest in the movie, is pitted up in a drag race in her Nissan 240SX, we have another 93 RX-7 beside her that she defeats, of course, as she's a main character. But here is that Mazda, as again, the first movie of this series, we're still mostly about racing. And you can see that this one has its own customized logos as well. Poor fella lost $2,000 in that drag race, but keep Mazdas in the series and we'll have a little bit more racing. All right, jump ahead to Too Fast, Too Furious in 2003. Too Fast, Too Furious, 2003. And this is, well, Dom, sorry, bye-bye. No Dominic Toretto in this one. However, we jump into a little backstory of Brian O'Connor and childhood friend Tyrese Gibson. Paul Walker, Tyrese Gibson, match it up for the tandem or the duo of the, again, a lot of racing. Not as much because of what it's involved, but there is a little bit of racing for pinks later on in the movie. Don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it, but it is, I guess it's been almost 20 years, so maybe you should check it out. However, what do we see at the very beginning as we're trying to put a little street race together? They need a fourth person, and so who do they call? They call Brian O'Connor, and he comes in his Nissan Skyline. But of course, one of those that he's racing against is Orange Julius, the Orange JLS Mazda RX-7. This is a 93 model. This is actually one of the cars that was used in the first installment of the series. However, of course, new graphics, a little bit different style. This was not one that had the Veil side kit on it, so just changed it up a little bit. And Orange Julius didn't fare too well. And you may be wondering why I stepped down to the smaller ratio diecast here. Number one is this isn't really one of my favorite cars from the Mazdas, and this was what I was able to find quick and on hand without having to order it online. So again, Orange Julius Mazda RX-7 means more street racing, more racing in the Fast and the Furious, Fast Furious saga. All right, jumping ahead a few years, 3 years actually, to 2006, we look at the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. And so, again, we kind of jump ahead in the story here. However, this is the third, as far as release dates, the third movie in the series. And I think there was a little bit of scheduling issues. Maybe still don't know if we're going to get Paul Walker and Vin Diesel back or whatever the situation is. But we have a couple of new characters. Lewis Black as Sean Boswell. He's from Alabama. And Little Bow Wow as Twinkie. It was nice to see them kind of come back around in F9. Not spoiling it here if you haven't seen it yet. However, again, the third movie here, we still have some racing, drifting specifically, and another Mazda vehicle. So a 1997 Mazda RX-7. This is a Veil side aero kit called the Veil side Fortune. Can still actually get these done. And very beautiful car here. This is driven by none other than Han Lu.
What? I want to see what the kid's got.
And very nice car. Not involved so much in the races or in the drifting, except one drifting scene that I think everybody appreciates. As you see this, he was answering to Sean as to when he drifts, since he doesn't race. And drifting for phone numbers is not so shabby. But a beautiful car to see, and glad for all the screen time. The worst screen time and the worst scene of the movie, of course, is when DK is trying to get Han and Sean and all those guys, and we end up seeing Han crash, or actually he's hit in the RX-8, and that worst scene is when Han dies. However, no spoiler alert, if you've seen F9, you know something else happens. As you can see from these clips here, Han is driving a 97, which is only available. These Series 6 and Series 7 RX-7s were only available in right-hand drive because they weren't available in North America. So we said goodbye to the RX-7, and they still had them produced. And lastly, produced the Series 7 in Japan. So that could be where we ended up with this one, because Tokyo, Japan, Tokyo Drift. And again, very nice looking car. Glad to have it in the screen, or the screen time in the movie. And you know what the Mazda cars in Fast and the Furious means, that there is going to be racing. Now again, when you take all these cars out of the movie, you still have Dom and his American muscle. The Charger always seems to pop up in some form or fashion. But we now transition, of course, later to Fast and Furious in 2009, another 3 years. And that one's all about tracking down this drug lord Baraga and finding out who killed Letty. And then in Fast 5, we're looking at heisting huge amounts of cash from a businessman in Rio. And we also have some new characters involved. The Rock jumps into the saga and gets involved. We kind of spin off a bunch of different ways. However, no Mazda cars. No Mazdas. Fast and the Furious, Fast 5, The Fate of the Furious. Moving on down the line, no Mazdas. If you want street racing and love the action-packed, and I can see how Hollywood kind of took off and went with the love direction, the drama direction, and I'm still a big fan of the movies. However, if you want racing, you gotta have Mazdas. You gotta have Mazdas. You gotta have RX-7s. A matter of fact, you would have thought that at some point they would have introduced an RX-8 just to keep it interesting, but the RX-7 is more iconic and definitely one that has a lot of bang for the buck back in those early to mid 90s. Dom, we love your series. I do expect there to be a 10th installment, 11th installment, however you want to look at that. But do think that I'd really love to see Mazdas. Can we get back to some racing scenes with some Mazdas? And maybe a few more Mazdas. I'm Jonathan Sewell Sales at Mitchell Mazda on the Boulevard in Enterprise, Alabama. And yeah, I like Mazdas. And I like Pops. So if you have any questions, comments on the Fast and the Furious series, what do you think? Do we need more Mazdas? Do we need more racing? Do we need more races in the series? Maybe we can finish up strong with a few. Again, I'm still a big fan, still like all the stuff, but think to have races, we got to have some Mazdas. So it's time to get some more Mazdas in the movies. Drop your comments below. What do you think? Which of these, so you can see them all, which of these is your favorite RX-7 and which is your favorite Fast and the Furious movie? Comment down below. Click down below to subscribe if this is your first time seeing me. And I appreciate the time and appreciate Hollywood and the Mazdas in the movies that we have. But we need more Mazdas. I'll see you on the next one.